beginning, there was silence. Then, from the heart of the universe, a pulse was born. A rhythm that spread like waves of light across the stars. That pulse took shape, transforming into boundless soundscapes, into architectures of energy and harmony. They called it Kepler, a world where every note is a star, every melody a planet in motion, a place where time bends, structures intertwine. And sound becomes living matter. Here, the journey has no limits. Here, the creator is you. Sound you awaken, a new universe is revealed. With every choice, destiny itself is rewritten. This is more than music. This is Kepler.
Hi guys, what's up? I'm Stefano. Let me just introduce Elements Kepler 2. This walkthrough is a bit long, yeah, I know. So grab a coffee, relax, enjoy. It's packed with the right information to really understand this big library. Have fun with Kepler 2. Ciao.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this walkthrough of Kepler 2. Kepler 2 is a major upgrade, bringing a lot of new features and possibilities. It's a powerful toolkit with an impressive sound range packed with an incredible amount of diverse material. Created by Stefano Maccarelli, sound designer and composer, and also the creator of the acclaimed Etheric Gold series, Kepler 2 is a modern hybrid scoring instrument, powerful, inspiring, and designed to spark creativity. In this video, we'll take a look at some of the key features to help you get the most out of the library. If you're upgrading from Kepler 1, think of Kepler 2 as an entirely new instrument. We recommend keeping Kepler 1 installed on your system for compatibility with older projects. The engine has been completely rewritten, and with it comes a brand new collection of presets along with new sampled content. And if you're new to Kepler, no worries. Kepler 2 also includes all of the samples from Kepler 1, so you can start your journey right here with the latest version. This will be a technical video aimed at helping you understand the interface and its functions. If you want to get a quick idea of the sound content of this library, we've also created 5 playthrough videos, one for each section of the library, with no commentary, showcasing many of the more than 1,000 presets designed to get you up and running immediately. Alright, let's begin by looking at how to install the library in Kontakt. This library requires Kontakt 8.6, the full version, as a minimum. For further details, please check the user manual. Once you've downloaded the library from our server, you'll find a folder called 0G Elements Kepler 2. Don't rename it. Otherwise, the library might not work correctly. Just place it on your preferred drive, ideally the fastest one. Now open Contact and click on the little gear icon. Make sure Custom Libraries is selected and then click Add and choose the Kepler 2 folder. One important thing, keep the Import Subfolders option turned off. Now the library folder has been successfully loaded into Contact, but as you can see, there's no preview image yet. Inside the library folder, you'll find an installer for both Mac and PC. Just run it to install the preview image. Once that's done, refresh Contact and the image will appear correctly. If you're a Windows user, we recommend adjusting Windows Defender for the best performance with Contact. This will drastically reduce the loading times of your libraries. Click the Windows button and type Security. Go to Virus and Threat Protection, then click Manage Settings. Scroll down to Exclusions and click Add. From there, choose Add an Exclusion and add the drive or the folder where you've installed Kepler and your other libraries. This will prevent Windows Defender from slowing down the loading process. In the Kepler 2 manual, you'll also find additional tips for optimizing your system. Kepler 2 comes with several main instruments, from which more than 1,000 presets have been created. By clicking on the name in the top right of the browser, you can access the different banks. There are two main sections, Presets and Init. The Presets menu includes a wide range of categories organized by style, with tons of ready-to-use sounds that can also serve as a great starting point for building your own presets. Each preset also comes with an audio preview, so you can instantly hear how it sounds before loading it. In the Init, or Initialize section, you'll find the default initialized versions of the instruments. This is perfect if you want to start from scratch and design completely new sounds. The graphic interface, while keeping some similarities, is specific to each instrument. The three main instruments are Chord Designer, Texture Designer, and Synth Designer. On top of these, there are also dedicated instruments for bow in motion strings, one-shot percussion, voices, and even an interesting acoustic bass. The Chord Designer is dedicated to the world of organic rhythmic sequences. It contains a wide collection of playable, multi-sampled organic sequences. With Kepler's engine, you can build sounds based on a single layer or create more complex textures using up to 3 layers. The Texture Designer is focused on cinematic textures of all kinds. Hybrid, vocal, string-based, mix sounds. The Synth Designer is where you'll find sound signatures, cinematic keys, and everything you could need to build a modern scoring palette. The bow and motion instruments are a collection of string sounds sampled with a special technique that delivers a continuous moving bow effect. This captures the expressiveness of the player, with 3 dynamic layers that can be controlled via the mod wheel. The result is a rich, expressive, and truly alive sound. We'll see later in detail how to make the most of it. Additional vocal instruments add expressive vocal parts with a lot of character. Finally, the additional one-shot percussion instruments provide a great toolkit for adding powerful hits in true trailer music style. So now let's take a closer look at the features and the workflow of each instrument category. We'll start with the core designer. Many of the interface and audio engine features you'll see here are shared across the other modules, which we'll cover in detail later with their exclusive characteristics. As mentioned, the core designer is the module dedicated to organic sequenced parts, but with elements that are fully playable. The main area of the UI lets you load sound elements across 3 menus. Alongside controls for solo and volume, you'll also find the dice icon, which randomly selects from over 400 sample groups, perfect for discovering new sounds. At the bottom, the square button opens the Expert section, which is specific to each layer. Here you'll find additional controls such as layer envelopes, saturators, filters, and LFOs. With the Learn Range button, you can define the playable range of each layer. You can stack all 3 layers across the full keyboard, or split them into dedicated ranges. Once Learn Range is pressed, the configuration resets. And then, by playing the lowest and highest notes on your keyboard, you will set the new range. The Sync button changes the sync mode with 3 quick options: Sync, the normal mode; Double, which is double time; and Half, which is half time. You can also use the Speed slider for intermediate or irregular timing values. There's also the Legato mode. When activated, it prevents the re-triggering of samples. Keep in mind, this works best with single-layer sounds or with layers that share the same tempo. Kepler 2 also introduces full support for Polyphonic Aftertouch, which can be enabled per layer. With compatible keyboards such as the Native Instruments S-Series Mark III or the ROLI controllers, you can control both volume and a low-cut filter in a highly expressive way. At the top of the interface, you'll find tabs that give access to specific engine sections. We have Space, which adds 3 spatial effects: reverb, psychedelic delay, and classic delay. EQ, 3 filters plus tape saturation. Dynamics, this is per layer compression. Shape, advanced saturation algorithms for adding character, plus individual transient shaping. The XY tab, a multi-dimensional MIDI assignable control for dynamic morphing between layers 1, 2, and 3, as well as spatial panning. Macro, 4 assignable table for customizing and expanding your sound. Slice, transforms Kepler into a real-time loop and glitch machine, great for instant sound manipulation. ARP, a built-in arpeggiator for creating new rhythmic patterns. In-Q. This enables input quantize, useful mainly when performing live to lock your timing to the DAW's tempo. This control is designed for real-time use only, not for playback. Now let's move on to the Texture Designer. The Texture Designer is a powerful instrument dedicated to a wide variety of textures. As mentioned earlier, you'll also find a large collection of presets here, organized into categories. Of course, these presets are just a starting point. The possibilities for creating new sounds are nearly endless. From a graphical interface perspective, most features are shared with the core designer. So let's focus on the main differences. In the Expert section, you'll find the loop length, which defines the length of the sample's loop. This parameter works together with the long bar underneath the waveform, which defines the loop's start point. Together, they essentially allow you to reshape the loop point of the sample. It's important to note that these two parameters do not work with elements loaded into layers marked with the label TM. Sounds that use time machine technology carry the TM mark. This means they can be synced to the beats per minute of your DAW if needed, using the dedicated menu, or they can be played in legato mode. For the string instruments, synchronization isn't always necessary. You'll often see the native BPM number written next to the sound element name, like 70, 90, or 120. This indicates the tempo at which the bowing was originally performed. If you want perfectly synced rebow movements locked to your DAW's BPM, choose the element closest to your session tempo and then activate the sync option. Otherwise, you can use them freely. In fact, especially with multi-layer patches, this creates interesting alternating movements that result in a very rich and evolving sound. We'll take a closer look at this later in the Bow in Motion section. And of course, if you'd like to listen to many of the Texture Designer presets in action, you can check out the dedicated playthrough video. Now let's look at the Synth Designer and some of its interface differences. Compared to the Core Designer and Texture Designer, in the Expert section you'll find an additional envelope, which lets you further shape the sound beyond the standard envelope. The parameters Decay 1, Decay 2, and Break allow you to alter the behavior of a traditional ADSR, giving you more flexibility in how the sound evolves. There's also a fuzz distortion module to push the sound even further, in addition to the various shape modules already available in the instrument. Let's check out a few examples of sound manipulation. The Slice section is a creative tool for creating new material. You can even sample the results directly into your DAW and use them as loops, essentially turning Kepler into a creative instrument for generating entirely new samples. For example, starting from a drum kit preset in the Synth Designer, we can experiment with the arpeggiator and then activate the slice function to create something completely different, ready to be resampled inside the DAW. So let's record Contact's audio output with the slice function activated to capture a brand new loop. Then we'll try adding more layers. Let's bring in a Core Designer part. Add a hybrid percussion element from the Core Designer. And a section of arpeggiated strings. As you can see, Kepler 2 offers endless creative possibilities. Alright, we're almost at the end of this long overview of Kepler 2. There are just two important topics left: bow in motion and the setup with the ROLI. Let's start with bow in motion. As mentioned earlier, in addition to the many fantastic string textures found in the Texture Designer, Kepler 2 also includes a dedicated bow in motion section recorded using the same technique, designed to capture the full expressiveness of the player. Here, you also get 3 dynamic layers, all controllable via the mod wheel. As we mentioned before, the BPM written next to each patch refers to the native tempo at which the bowing was originally recorded. With legato mode enabled, this gives you a very natural and continuous rebowing effect. The main BPM values are 70, 90, and 120. For best results, if you plan to activate Synth, we recommend choosing the patch with the BPM closest to your session tempo in your DAW. This will give you the perfectly timed rebowing. But this isn't mandatory. The patches still work beautifully in free mode without syncing. And if you want to go further, combining them inside a multi-instrument or layering them with other elements from the Texture Designer, you get a sound that is always rich, alive, and full of movement. These layers also work perfectly as an extra addition to other string libraries, adding that touch of life that is often missing. Unlike true legato, which is triggered when notes overlap, the bow and motion instruments, and also with any TM patches from the texture designer, when legato mode is enabled, you only need at least one note overlapping to avoid re-triggering. This way, the bow movement continues seamlessly. If instead you play notes separated by a longer pause, the samples will re-trigger, starting the bow movement again. The bow and motion legato mode also works beautifully when arpeggiated. In fact, there are ready-made patches that use the built-in arpeggiator to create fascinating arpeggiated parts, somewhat inspired by the magnificent Oppenheimer soundtrack. Alright, so we've reached the final chapter. Let's talk about MPE controllers like the ROLI. Kepler 2 supports ROLI in several modes. All the presets in the Core Designer, Texture Designer, and Synth Designer can be played with ROLI using Monophonic Glide and Polyphonic Aftertouch, simply by enabling the dedicated function inside of Kepler. Since Kontakt doesn't natively support Polyphonic Glide, to fully use a ROLI with Polyphonic Glide, you'll need to create a multi. There are also ready-made multis included as inspiration. To access them in Kontakt, just click on Combined. For more details about the different modes and how to configure the dashboard, please refer to the Kepler 2 manual, which includes all the necessary steps to set up ROLI for true multi-timbral use. this marks the end of the walkthrough. I want to thank you guys so much for your time, and I really hope Kepler 2 inspires your creativity. I cannot wait to hear what you do with it.